And Rocky Chavez is running for Oceanside mayor. Rocky, are you there?
Yes, I am. I'm right here listening to the show. I'm enjoying it, too.
Good. Thanks a lot, Rocky. Good to have you on air.
And happy to be here.
So you are, for those who don't know, you served on the city. First off, you're a retired Marine, correct?
Actually, today's the Marine Corps birthday.
Yep.
44th. And I was honored to serve nearly 3 decades in the Marine Corps. Just as my father had served in the Marine Corps in World War II, and both my sons, one in the Navy, one in the Coast Guard, and my daughter married a Marine. So we're a military family.
Excellent.
Which makes sense. That's why you're up in Oceanside.
Yeah, it's close to the gym where I can work out in the morning.
That's awesome. What all did you do for the Marine Corps?
Well, I had a great career. I'm an artillery officer, and I was able to serve in the 1st Division here at Pendleton, the 2nd Division in Lejeune, North Carolina, the 3rd Division in Okinawa, and I was the Chief of Staff of the 4th Division, which was based out of New Orleans, and that's a reserve unit across the country. And I served in the brigade in Hawaii. Oh, wow. And in all those roles, I was in command roles of Marines, which is a great honor.
That's fantastic. Well, thank you for your service, and happy birthday to the Marine Corps. Very much appreciate all you did for our country, Rocky. And then, now, were you involved in politics while you were in the Marine Corps, or did that happen after you left?
Well, you can't do politics when you're in the military. But I would tell you, when I was the Chief of Staff of the 4th Division, and I had 22,000 Marines in 48 states, and the reserves are very active in their local community. So kind of crossed in a little bit of politics there, but myself, I stayed pretty much out of that.
Well, what inspired you to get involved after you got out of the Marine Corps?
Well, I was at Camp Pendleton, who I was going to get out. We had some issues with Oceanside. They were trying to hold the Camp Pendleton hostage on a sewage outfall issue. They wanted some land from Pendleton unless they're going to stop providing that service to this base. So the general asked me, hey, what do you think we need to do? And I said, I think we need to go talk to the local community and let everybody know what their council is trying to do to the Marines, and I bet you they'll flip really quick. And so that's what I did. And after that experience, I told my wife, I said, I think I got a new occupation when I leave the Marine Corps. I may go into politics. And that's what I did. Got elected to city council right after I left the Marine Corps.
Well, and you're an old friend to San Diego County gun owners. Our very first press conference back when Prop 63, we were trying to stop Prop 63 and raise awareness, and we got 75, 80 people to show up on the steps of the county administration building, and every single news station in town showed up, and you were one of our guest speakers and gave a fantastic speech. Actually, when I knew you were coming on today, I went back and reviewed it, and for those who haven't seen it, go check out what Rocky had to say. Just go to our YouTube channel, San Diego County Gun Owners YouTube channel. He gave a fantastic, passionate speech about the Second Amendment, and you've served in the city council on Oceanside, you served in Sacramento in the assembly, and you've been unapologetic about your support for the Second Amendment and unwavering in your support for the Second Amendment, and I very much appreciate that.
Well, that's an easy vote for me, because having been around the world, I can tell you what not all countries are free, as we know. And if you just have to look what happened in Ukraine, one of the first things the Russians want to do is take away everybody's gun. You look at what's happening in Mexico, where you can't, they don't have a Second Amendment, and you have people being shot by the people who do have guns. There's, if you want to be free, we need to have, the Second Amendment ensures that we have the ability to defend ourselves. And it's not, and I don't believe there's a role for government, but it's also a role for me to take care of my own house. And like I'm not unapologetic this. I was an expert rifle and pistol for the 3 decades I was in the Marine Corps. I had cross rifles, and I have weapons in my house, and I feel safe, and I like that.
Yeah, and your voting record up in Sacramento was perfect. You like I said, unwavering support. You were always with the Second Amendment crowd, and always voted on the right way. And so, what is leading you to run for mayor of Oceanside?
Well, I had that experience with Congress, and I think I'm not very pleased with the direction this area is going. I think it's going way farther left than I feel comfortable with, and I think we need to have strong voices at any level of government. And I know the mayor is opening up, and there's a lot of things going on in Oceanside, And so I figured, at my age, this would be something I could use all experience. There's a lot of veterans here. As you know, I used to be the Secretary of Veteran Affairs for the state of California prior to being the Assembly member. So there's a lot of opportunity to represent our military and our veterans and our community and ensure that we continue to thrive and don't go too far wild on a number of issues.
So we hope to help you get elected, and when elected, what can you do? Will you continue to be a voice for the Second Amendment, and what are some things you can do as mayor? With some of the local issues. We've faced CCW issues, which we've won, and things are going well. We've faced the gun show being taken away from us, which is something that we lost but are continuing to fight. What are some ways you can be a voice as mayor of Oceanside for gun owners across the region?
Well, the first you need in these positions of mayor or state assembly member or congressman, people look up to you. People look up to you as a leader, and I think it's important that people who fill these roles speak up to it. I've been watching the CCW issue, and as I tell people in Sacramento, people who own guns, responsible gun ownership, they're not the ones you need to worry about. And they're going to do the right things, and they're going to know how to handle weapons. And so I make that comment as the mayor of Oceanside. And so I also know that in the mayor's role, there are a lot of state boards that you deal with, and you have the opportunity to go to Sacramento. There's not that many of us up in Sacramento talking about the Second Amendment, and many of people just want to default to a very simplistic view of it, talking about, a school shooting or something. And those are terrible events. But those are generally people who have much more issues than automatic weapons. And so you need to have somebody who can articulate that at state levels, at state boards, and local communities, and that's what the mayor of Oceanside can do. Because Oceanside's a long state, big state. I mean, a big city.
Big city, it really is, and I totally agree with you. A lot of people ask, regarding San Diego County gun owners, what's our agenda, or what are we trying to accomplish? And more often than not, our agenda is standing in the way of other people's agendas. I mean, we generally believe that people serving on city councils should worry about potholes and a budget and that sort of thing. But these frankly extremists on the other side try to use local elected officials to advance their agenda, and therefore that's why we have to get involved to say, hey, you guys are being extreme. You're wanting to grab guns and wanting to support the grabbing of guns and that sort of thing. And it's more important than ever that we have local officials in positions in every single city council that can stand up and say, hey, you know what, this is wrong. Gun owners are the pillars of society. They're law abiding. They're the ones that are, they're the good guys, basically. And
when I was a principal of my school at the School of Business Technology, a charter school, one of the clubs we had was a gun club. And when we first did that, some of my parents got upset about it. And I said, well, let's have a debate. Let's let the kids debate the issue. And when the kids all got together and debated, the Second Amendment, it won out because it's just clearly logically there.
Yeah.
And I had a couple of parents come up to me afterwards saying, I don't agree with the position of some of your people on this, but they said, I do agree how you handled it. We didn't shut down both sides of the argument. We said, let's just have a discussion. And when you can have a discussion, a logical discussion, not an emotional one, then the Second Amendment will always win out. And so you can do that in schools, and as I tell people when I was in Sacramento, the things we need to really worry about is the education of our children, the character of our communities. We don't need to be worrying about the Second Amendment or the First Amendment. These are there, and that's why this is such a great country. But we should worry about how we're educating people in schools, because if they think logically, then we'll be a much safer country.
Right. So what can people do? How can people find you if they want to help you? If they want to, first off, how can people help you, and how can they find you if they want to help you win to be the next mayor of Oceanside?
Well, I'd love to have anybody donate. Go RockyForOceanside.com, and that's it, RockyForOceanside.com, and you can go click on the little button and you get $5 or $10. And that's very important, because when people start seeing a lot of support coming in when you make your filing, which we'll be doing in December, that'll help us win. And as I tell people, last night I got a $20 check from this older gentleman I knew, and he was saying, that's not much. I said, are you kidding me? That $20 check is 4 signs that I could put around the community
to get the word out.
To get the word out.
Yeah, and so a lot of people ask.
$20 worth.
Absolutely, a lot of people ask me, "Hey, what can I do to support the Second Amendment?" Well, here you go. One of the reasons that we came out with these endorsements early for people that we know are friends of ours is so that we can get you guys, listeners, to support them early and make sure that nobody else, jumps in and splits the vote, or some anti-gun folks smell blood in the water and run somebody again. Let's make sure that Rocky's successful. Let's make sure that all our endorsed folks are successful, and that's there's two tools in politics: money and people. So donate what you can afford, and then contact him and say, hey, what can I do? Can I make phone calls? Can I stuff envelopes? Can I come out and walk precincts with you? But whatever. But thank you so much for being on the show, Rocky. Really appreciate what you're doing, and I can't wait to call you mayor.
Thank you, and make sure I get invited to more of your events. I want to be on this. At this point in my life, I want to be up on the podium defending things like the Second Amendment.
There you go. Thanks a lot, Rocky.
You're the man, Rocky. All right, folks. We're
Without someone doing something about it, it's not going to get any better.